All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have another winner of the 2 racks a week challenge, man. Here we have David. David, give a quick introduction. Let her know which market you're driving in and which platform you're driving on.
Yeah, I'm here in San Diego, excuse me, San Diego, California. And this full time about 7.5 years. I drive an electric car. I have a Tesla,
Okay.
and I'm able to do comfort electric rides and then green and X.
Oh, nice, nice. You said you've been doing it for 7.5 years. You was kind of breaking up a little bit, like when she was
Yes, I'm
talking.
sorry. Yes, 7.5.
All right, 7.5, not too shabby. And so what got you like what was the catalyst for you starting to drive Uber and Lyft?
Well, it's funny because originally I didn't know anything about Uber or Lyft.
Hmm.
And I let a friend borrow a car and I had to go pick up the car from them. And the only way to do that was I took a taxi.
Okay.
I get home, tell my wife how much it costs. I'm like, this is freaking expensive.
Hmm.
My wife talks to her boss and she's like, well, why didn't he just take a Lyft over there or an Uber over there to pick up his car? It's a lot cheaper.
Hmm.
My wife told me about it. I looked online, looked it up, and they're like, hey, we're hiring drivers. So I just signed up first with Uber. Then a few weeks later, I signed up with Lyft.
Okay, then 7 years go by, and here we are.
Yep.
All right, cool. What exactly were you doing prior to you doing Uber and Lyft?
Prior to this, I was in the cell phone industry. Last
Okay.
job I worked at, I was doing technical support. Before that, I was in management.
Mm. And once you signed up to do rideshare, were you doing I'm pretty sure you started off part-time, correct?
Yeah, I did it part time for about 2, 3 weeks. Then I went full time after that.
All right, so yeah, let's go back in time, man. Let's reflect on that. What was it about, doing rideshare or even, the tech support job that you had that you was like, all right, I have to quit. I see more opportunity doing this, or what was your mindset at that particular time?
Well, not to bring the mood down or anything, but the reason I started doing it full time was my wife became disabled.
Oh,
So
okay.
I ended up being her caregiver at that point. And doing the technical support job, they gave me as much time off as they could to help her. And since I had the backup already doing Lyft and Uber, I just decided to move that full time so I could be available for her when she needs me.
Mm. Damn, sorry to hear that, man. That's
Thank you.
wow. Yeah, hopefully everything is, all right. And geez. So now, you got the flexibility and to be there for your wife and
Right.
do the things that you need to do. I guess, for your life and that could benefit you. So talk about, I guess, like the earning potential and yeah, the earning potential from the technical job compared to driving Uber, because a lot of people, they don't really see the true earning potential from doing this.
Right. Nice thing though with it was, yeah, I had the freedom to come and go as I needed to, but at the same time, I also had the flexibility to make a lot more money than I was when I was in the cell phone tech support industry.
Okay.
So yeah,
All right, nice.
yep.
And do you mind sharing with the audience how much were you earning as a doing like the tech support role so
Yeah,
they can make
back then it was like $18 an hour with the overtime after taxes, probably bringing home, 500, 600 a week.
okay. Yep. So
Yeah, just
yeah,
your
that
average earnings at that point.
all right, now look at you making $2,000. So before we get to the how exactly did you find out about the 2 racks a week challenge?
I normally go on YouTube anyways to look for, videos that are interesting to me relating to the rideshare industry or the just the gig economy in general.
Hmm.
And doing that, you had popped up as, someone on there, and I was like, yeah, let me check out Ronnie and see what he's all about. And I
Okay.
enjoy your channel.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and that's how you found out about, the 2 racks a week challenge.
Yes.
Was it
Yep.
like a particular video that you seen, or like somebody in the San Diego area or the LA area, or like what I guess intrigued you to want to try? Because some people they look at it as if I'm a shill for the company or that I'm lying
Right.
or they just have like a negative outlook. What were your thoughts when you were watching the content?
No, I mean, what you presented and the way you presented it, was very intriguing. But at the same time, I knew it was possible because I've done 2 racks before, just
Okay.
not consistently like I have now. And I
Mhm.
did that also with a different vehicle where I was in a lower class because my other car, I have a Lexus hybrid. And
Okay.
because of the age, all I can do with that is X and green because it's a
Okay.
2014. And with Uber, you have to have a 2016.
Right,
So I
right.
wasn't current enough to do the higher paying ride. So I knew if I could do it with that, I could definitely do it with the hybrid since I'm in
Right.
a higher, I mean, with the electric, because I'm in a higher class.
Mhm.
And then just you presenting it like, you've got all this time. Anyways, what are you doing with your time? You're sitting at home or you ain't doing anything. And my thing is, if you look at my numbers, you're preaching, 12-hour days, 84 hours a week.
Mhm.
It's possible, and you can look at my numbers. I'm even taking a day off and still making that 2,200.
Okay.
So
Right.
it's, unlimited is what you can make if you apply.
Absolutely. And since we're talking about the numbers, let's pull up the numbers that you earn. So the first screenshot I have is 72 hours, 8 minutes for $2,165. Hopefully they can see it. Oh, good, they can.
Yeah, that looks good.
Bam. So you see it's the same guy, name and everything. And we go to the second screenshot. Second screenshot, um, with the hours not on here, but the payout is $2,226. Oh no, that's what it ended up being. It ended up being
Yeah,
$2,226. All right.
right.
So this would he actually
Yeah,
got.
that was the final for the
Yeah,
week.
the final payout. Got it, got it. So here it goes right here. And just to recap the hours, that is the
Yes.
hours right there. So not too shabby, man. And see, a lot of people may look at that, right? And they say, oh, 72 hours, that's a lot of hours. That's
Right.
too much. What about work-life balance? Or I don't have a life. So, talk about that particular week. Were you able
Yes.
still to do everything necessary that you needed to do besides driving?
Yeah. Normally when I drive, here's what my day consists of.
Hmm.
I get up at 3 in the morning because I like to go on the road and start by 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So that's the latest I want to be out is 4 in the morning. I will
Hmm.
stay out throughout the day. Having a Tesla, I still have to make time to charge my vehicle.
Right.
So, and that's a couple times a day I have to charge because I'm not able to do it at home because I live in a condo.
Hmm.
So during the day, I will take a half-hour break and charge it at one time. And then throughout the day, as I need to charge it, I'll stop at a charger. But at those points, I leave the app on.
Okay.
That way, if a good ride comes in and I have enough charge, I'll take the ride and keep working until I need to go back and charge again. That way, I don't
Okay.
have really any downtime.
All right. All right.
So that's how I work that. And then in between there, I might take a little minute, few minutes out, run through the car wash, get the car washed. And then I'm usually done in home by 6 o'clock. So I've got a few hours at home to eat, take care of my dog, spend some time with my son.
Okay.
And that's usually my day. And then, as you saw there, actually, I think one day I took a half a day and another day I took the full day off. So that's why it's only at the 72, not the, for the full week, which would have been what, 84.
Right. Yeah, you took Sunday off. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
So that week was potentially, if I had worked what I work, I could have made over 2,500. It's possible because 3 days that week I made over 400 in a day.
ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So
Yep.
in your opinion, how old are you?
Me, I'm 55.
Okay, so you're 55, right? And
Yes.
people around my age, because I'm 33. So people
Okay.
that's in their 20s and 30s, they complain about the hours. But now you're 55 years old. You're
Right.
working like you 19, 20 years old. How easy is it for you to put in, let's say, 10 to 12 hours a day?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hmm.
Some days it's easy, and some days it's like, "Oh, I don't want to be out here. I just want to go
Right.
home." But and every once in a while I give into it,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
shouldn't. But I my philosophy is I know what I can make. As I was telling you, I had 3 days over 400. One I almost hit 450.
Hmm.
So it's like I know I can make it up. That's just the way the market is out here. I can't speak for anybody else's market,
Right.
but out here, it just seems like I don't know if it's because I've got the electric vehicle or not, giving me better rides, but I think that's possible. Because I'm getting rides here, X rides that are like $1.25, $1.30 a mile. And then
Hmm.
I'm getting rides that are like 80 cents a mile. So I'm getting both ends of the spectrum, but more on the higher end out here in San Diego.
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned a pretty, valid point. Some days they are easier than others. And I think every driver can relate to this. But it's really about, like you said, you prove to yourself that you can earn $2,000 consistently, and you have the capabilities of doing it. It's not gonna be all, you know, like sunshine, and it's gonna be easy. You're gonna have your days.
Right.
You're gonna go through the emotional roller coaster, you're gonna go through the ups and
Yep.
downs. But even then, sometimes, I don't feel like doing it, but I still get out there, execute, put the time in, or, maybe I'll just, take a day off or only drive half a day, depending on what I have to do. And also like the mind frame I'm in. I try not to drive if I'm feeling like I'm real like irritable or just
Right.
like real like grumpy because I'm already a grumpy person. So I try not to get out there if I'm feeling that way. I'm all right, let me, just take a step back and try again. So it's a lot of ways that you can skin the cat. It's a lot of money out there, but people they just have to, you know, go out there and get it. Uh, I have a question for you. Like, how are you
Sure.
able to remain consistent? Because so many people on the internet, they complain that the earnings are low, that that you can't make any money, but you still made 2,200 and you took a day off.
Well, one of the biggest things I find out here, and I try to tell this to other people, not in my own market, obviously. I don't want to sabotage what I'm doing here, but
Uh,
it's like you need to pick and choose the rides you take
okay.
because I know you've heard it and lots of people have heard about the algorithm, which
Yeah.
I believe is a real thing.
Hmm.
And I have the history to prove it. You need to take the rides that are going to be profitable for you, the
Right.
rides or the rides I think are going to work for me.
Hmm.
Now, I may take some rides someone else doesn't take. I may take the longer rides, say going up from San Diego to Los Angeles. I may take those rides because
Okay.
I know once I get to another area, how to work the area, how to use my destination filter to get rides back home. So I'll take rides, I believe, based on what I see out there on YouTube and Facebook that the average person wouldn't take.
Right.
And by doing that, you can see, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. Look at my numbers by doing that. So that I think helps as well, knowing your market, knowing what ride to take and not to take, because potentials out there, I believe in a lot of your markets, people could do this if they knew how to work the apps to their benefit.
Right. No, I 100% agree with that. You definitely have to, you know, work the app to your benefit, pick the trips and select the trips that make sense for you. But I think the most important thing is being out there. Because if you're not out there driving, you're not gonna learn anything. You're not gonna know exactly what trips to select and discern from.
Right.
And I think that's what most people are afraid of. They want it to be easy, because if you've been driving, 7 years, that's around, I think I started like 2016 or so when I first started. we didn't have that option to see exactly where trips are going or how much we're getting
Right.
paid. So these people, they have it easy. So we had to actually get out there and learn the market, and whatever happens, happens. So for the new people or the existing people that's driving and haven't made two racks, I would say put the time in first. The more hours you out there, the easier it would be for you to collect data and information from. Because let's say you drove like 72 hours like David, then but okay, I drove 72 hours. This is how much I made. Let me try to select these trips now compared to you just trying to be a selective. I'm only looking for this trip, or I want to sit at the airport, and you end up doing nothing besides wasting time. Then you make complaints just because you don't really want to put the effort in. And I think that's what most people struggle. They really don't want to put the effort in. They want to sit and just have big trips come to them and just rack up all the money. And that's not realistic for most people.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Like you said, you have to know
Hmm.
your market. You have to learn what's out there in your market to make the most money. If
Right.
you work part-time, it's harder to get a good gauge on what the market's like. If you're dead set on, I'm only taking trips that go X amount of miles or only make X amount of dollars per mile, like a lot of people are dead set on, if it's not over $1 a mile, I'm not going to take it. Then you're losing out, I think, on a lot of money because the way I look at it, when we came into this, we knew we were going to be putting miles on our cars.
Right.
We knew that ahead of time. So it's like, why be afraid of putting the miles on your car if you want to make the money? You can't do one without
Yeah.
the other.
Yeah, that exactly. Yeah, and I don't understand why people complain about that. It's like you knew this was going to happen. Like you
Right.
knew you're gonna have to put miles on your car. That's inevitable. That's like somebody working at McDonald's and complaining that they have to make burgers and French fries. Like you knew that. Like
Yep.
that makes absolutely no sense. But let's spend like the next few minutes on talk about like mindset, because I'm always preaching, like readapting, because things will, constantly change. You constantly have to, readapt your mindset, set new goals, set new visions, and take action to levitate towards those goals. Uh, Talk about some of the times that you had to readapt your mindset to overcome, certain challenges that Uber and Lyft presented.
Okay. I think with that, one of the biggest things, like you were talking about at the beginning, was we were getting paid a lot more, even though we did percentage wise, even though we didn't know what we were taking. Because I'm
Hmm.
like you, 2016, when we started out. And yeah, the pay was better then, but we were taking rides that we didn't know.
Right,
Like you get there and it's like, oh, you want to go to LA? Oh man, I can't do that. Sorry.
right,
So the customer lost out and you were losing out on that aspect as well.
right.
As time went on, I think it's a little easier now to adapt. Like you said, you see all the information up front. You see where you're going, you see how far it is, you see how much it's going to pay. I think with that and having the mindset that, hey, I have a set goal every day I want to make. Since I found your channel in doing the 2 racks a week, now a little more steady, my goals have changed.
Mm,
Having the Tesla, my goals have changed. Now I
okay.
know, I've got the motivation now listening to you that, hey, I can do the 2 racks a week. I've proven it the last, 2 weeks in a row that I can do it. Now it's like, okay, now I've got a higher goal. Now I've got, instead of wanting to make 300 a day, I want to average 350 a day.
Hmm.
Instead of making 1500 a week, I want to try to average 2000 a week.
Yeah.
And it's there. I've seen it. I've done it, you know. And like I said at the beginning, I can't say every market's the same. I don't know, but I hear a lot of people in markets that I don't expect to be good making that kind of money. So it's like,
Right.
is it really the market or is it really the mindset that you say it's not busy, but yet you're turning down a lot of orders that you could be taking, and that in your mind is making it not busy. That's
Mm,
the mindset you got to have, because like I also preach to other people, you're doing this right, it's all going to come out in the end. It's all going to come out in the wash, meaning You take a lower ride mileage now, you're going to get a better mileage ride later on. And by the end of the week, everything will balance out and you'll be over what you want to be. Even though you took
Right.
some 875, 80, 85 cent a mile orders, you're still making 20, $25 on that. To me, it's more important on the hourly than it is the miles. Because the
Okay.
miles aren't going to pay my bills. The
Yeah,
hourly is.
exactly, man.
So
Yeah.
that's the mindset I got. It's like I'm not super. Yeah, if the miles are super ridiculous, of course we're not going to take it.
Right, right,
But if it's within reason, even though it's under $1 a mile, I always look at the hourly. Is this order going to make me over $25 an hour? If it's
right,
not, then why? Then it ain't worth taking unless you have a goal. Hey, I want to be at the airport, or I want to be at this part of town. I'll take the low ride to get me
right.
there.
Or you have
That's the
something to
mindset
do.
you have to.
Right.
It's kind of like chess to me. You have to be thinking two, three moves ahead. You're like, okay, this is going on in this part of town. I want to be there. How am I going to get there? Oh, I might have to take a shorter ride to get there, but it's getting me to my goal.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And I think what stuck out to me is once you said, is it the apps pretty much, or is it the mindset? And I think for most people, it really is the mindset. And that's why I'm always telling people to, do 84 hours. It's not to do 84 hours because it's like I'm trying to get you to kill yourself or something like that. No, it's to prove to yourself your biases or to
Right.
debunk your biases and your myths. Because if you put the max amount of hours in, then you could actually see what's going on. Because it's hard for you to, really have a valid opinion if you only, drove for like 12 or 20 hours. And
Right.
unfortunately, that's how a lot of people are. Like they'll have all these theories and misconceptions and opinions. Then you say, all right, let me see your weekly earnings. And then like 12 hours, 20 hours, 30. I'm like, man, you're not even working full time. Like, what are you talking about? So it really is the mindset, man. That's why I'm always preaching, readapting. Like these stories, I think, like these stories and interviews are like people readapt a moment. Even if you haven't made 2 racks a week, you listening to it, you start to think differently. Like you said, man, you
Right.
start to set different goals. You start to set higher goals, and that's what I like hearing because that's how it all started off for me. I started making $2,000. I'm like, damn, why haven't I been doing this? Like, what was I
Right.
doing? This whole time. But you gotta discover, your new self. I like that. So, couple more questions
Sure.
before we. And your opinion, what do you think most like drivers go wrong? Like, what do you think the common drivers struggle with?
For me, what I see, because a lot of what I base on is either through YouTube videos or what people are posting on Facebook.
Okay.
And I think one of the biggest things, like I've mentioned, people are afraid to take the longer ride. That's my one of my biggest things because I always hear, okay, you got a ride to LA, it's paying you, let's say, $150, and it's going to take you 2 hours.
Hmm.
To me, okay, 2 hours, 150, that's $75 an hour getting up there. Me, I'm confident enough in myself. I know how to work the area. I know how to work the destination filter because the destination filter is your friend. I
Mm,
don't care what people say. When
yeah.
you're in an area and you want to get home, you put in where you want to go. Like for me, I'll always put in, say, San Diego Airport.
Okay.
So I tell people by doing that, that gives you priority on those rides going home. They're not going to give it to somebody who doesn't want to go to San Diego. They'll give it to you before that other person because you put in you want to go to San Diego.
Hmm.
And that helps getting you back home and making money as you're going home. Because most people, and I'm sure you've seen this, say, well, if you're going up there for 150, then you got to add in the 2 hours you have to come back. So it's not really 150.
Right.
That's their mindset that they're going to come back empty. I hear that all the time. They think they're not going to be able to get a ride. They're always on the negative. What if I don't? I'm on the positive. What if you do?
Ooh.
Then what? Because I've gotten rides from LA, if you can believe this, that have taken me right to my own neighborhood, like right down the street from where I live. And I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I have a buddy that lives in Houston, and we always talk. He considers me kind of like his mentor,
Okay.
and I always joke with him. You know, I say, "Hey, I want that $100 ride. I want that $100 ride," and I usually after saying that, it kind of, if you believe in fate or whatever, a lot of times it'll manifest itself. I'll get a ride that pays me 80, 90, 100. And it's like, okay, I'll take it, you know? And I can see the difference between his market and my market, how things are. But like I tell him, you just take those rides, you just apply yourself. It's all going to come out in the end. You may get
Right.
some good rides, you may get some bad rides. But like I said earlier, it's the money that pays you, not the miles.
Yep.
So that's what you got to focus on. How much you make in an hour? And that's why I think people say it's slow because they're afraid to take these rides, or it's not profitable because they're afraid to take the 80, 90 cent a mile ride.
Right. No, I agree with everything you said. And I also think it's perspective. Like your perspective is positive. Like you'll take the longer rides and hey, hopefully I get a ride back. If not, if I don't, then I don't. But I'm banking on the opportunity to get a ride back. That's first and
Right.
that's first and foremost. And only thing that really matters is the money that's coming in. You worried about miles, but that's the funny thing. People they focus on all the stuff that really is irrelevant. You worry about the miles and depreciation. You knew all of that was going to happen. And
Right.
miles is not going to pay your bills. It's
Nope.
not. So focus on like getting the money, keep your perspective, positive. And it's been times, right? It'll start off slow. Like maybe like the first hour, hour and a half is slow, then they'll just pick up. Only thing
Right.
you really need is like 3 or 4 rides. Then you get back in the game. 3 or 4 rides can change your whole day, your
Oh
whole
yeah.
attitude. It's just really being out there and sticking and believing in the process. I mean, but if you don't believe in the process, you don't believe in yourself, and you actually out there pissed off, you're gonna take yourself
Right.
out the game. And I think that's what a
Yep.
lot of people do. They watch all this negative content. So when they going out there, they already in a negative mind frame to
Yep.
you know, to lose. They set themselves up to
That's it.
lose. Yeah. Yeah, one last thing because I got to get up out of here. As y'all see, I'm in a
Yep.
hotel. I'm out of town, so I'm about to drive back to the Bay Area.
Sure.
Why do you think this 2 racks a week challenge is so important?
To me, I think it's important for a couple reasons. One, by
Hmm.
finding your channel and doing the mindset of that, it gives me more perspective to stay focused. Now, yes, I've always had a goal, but now it gives me a higher goal because if you're meeting your old goal, then you need to set a new goal. And
Okay.
by finding you helps me find that goal because I was 1,500. Now I'm 2,000. Now I'm like,
Ooh.
okay, I've made 2,000 in less than 82 hours. My next thing is, what if I do the full 7 days? What if I do the full 82 hours? What's the potential out there? Like you saw, you know, taking
Hmm.
that day off. If I did another $300 day, there's 2,500. What's after that? You got to keep pushing yourself. If you ain't pushing yourself, who will?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
that's why I think it's important. The other thing I think also with that's important is it keeps at least me from being lazy.
Right.
Because someone who wants to wake up is like, well, I don't have to call in today. I might as well just turn my alarm off and roll over. No, it's like, okay, if I'm going to hit that 2,000, I need to get out and do it. So it also gives me the motivation not to, be lazy or slack off.
Absolutely. No, and I like both things that you said because I don't think I've haven't heard anybody say that yet. As far as setting higher goals, increasing your standard, and the most important thing, not you know being lazy. A lot of
Right,
drivers, a lot of people, not even drivers, just people in general. You probably picked them up and talked to them. They're lazy. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to work.
right,
They want everything given to them on a silver platter. It's like, man, that's not realistic. Man, you have to pay the price. At some
Yep.
point, you're going to pay the price. So you might as well just pay it right now and figure out ways to enjoy the process because we already suffer. So just enjoy the suffering, or you're gonna suffer
Right.
later on because you're not trying to work. So you end up sitting home, you waste a bunch of time, you watching Netflix or
Yep.
playing games or whatever, or spending time doing your vices, whatever your vice is, and you wasting a bunch of opportunity and you're not growing, you're not setting goals, you're not getting your confidence up. So you're missing out on a lot of good life lessons. And I think, well, I don't think I know that's the beauty of this channel, man. You know, because
Right.
people winning, people sharing their stories, and it's just like a community. Everybody, helping each other out. Everybody's, growing from hearing this message, man. But
Right.
I gotta get up out of here. I gotta finish
All righty.
packing. But I thank you once again
Yes.
coming on, sharing your story. Here we have another winner of the 2 racks a week 2 racks a week challenge. Shout out to David. Shout out to San Diego. $2,226. And this is number, I'm pretty sure you're number 89. So the next
Okay.
person should be this Wednesday. So that'll be number 90. So we getting close
Cool.
to 100, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, that's all we have to say. Ronnie Speed, over and out. Mr. 2 racks a week. Holla back. Peace.